Twitter page and on Facebook.
Okay, cool.
And I tried to tag you on one of it on it.
You did, but did you put it on the actual Facebook page?
No, did you?
Yeah, I did. I did.
What about the one? What about the one with this link?
The last one that you sent me was the link that said Emily and I are going live. Click here to listen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we're good.
That was a few minutes ago.
So
and on the Twitter page,
some kind of like intro or something. I mean, obviously we don't need to do it like right this second, but like I like your intro into it. But should we come up with something that's kind of like more formal, or is it better the way we have it?
I don't know. I guess the two people that's listening to us right now, they'll tell us.
Oh my God, we have two people listening. It's probably us, motherfucker. It's probably us.
No, because it was 0 a minute ago. Trust me.
So we actually have about 31 people following us right now, which is totally cool. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's better than what Hannity's doing. Anyway.
Oh, oh, Sean. Oh, Sean. You're a jewel. You're an American icon. I don't care what anybody tells you.
All right. He goes, so yeah. On the Twitter, I had to quote our boy on Rally. I said, fuck it, we're doing live.
Fuck it.
All right, so how do you want to start the show? It's up to you.
All right.
What do you want to start? What's going on, guys? So I mean, hey, if this is this with you know me. I mean, everybody who knows me, you know that I'm all about politics and trying to make the world a better place. I believe that, like Michael Jackson said, if you want to make the world a better place, you take a look at yourself and make a change.
Well,
I don't apply that method to my life, but I think it's
craziness. I think it's craziness. I think all the mirrors in your house are broken. I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
So what's been going on? What's been pissing you off right here?
Well, okay. So I first think we need to go ahead and say, welcome to this bitch right here. And thank you all for listening. And we're really glad to be getting some kind of traction. And yeah, so what a week. I mean, I hate to steal that line from John Lovett, but man, it's every time we come onto this podcast, we have a shitload of stuff that we want to talk about. I don't know about you, but all week we have these. Every time something comes up, we're like, oh my God, I have to put that in the podcast. And then it's like the next, like 5 minutes later, it's completely null and void. It's so hard to keep up. I don't know if I'm the only one overwhelmed by the cycle, but I really feel like it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot.
Well, I mean, that's living in America when we're being led by a reality TV show.
Well, you're right about that. You
are. That the millions of dollars that he's made, all the buildings that he's helped create, the hotels and stuff, the real estate that he's done, and he's only going to. I mean, he's going to be remembered as being president. But we always say our country is being led by. We don't ever say a real estate mogul. We say a reality TV show. Like that's the only thing he's done.
He's a shit show. He's a shit show wrapped in
a shit show and a hat.
He's a shit show and a hat. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what it is. But you know what? That's okay because, well, I just think it speaks to where we're at in this country, and it's a lot. I mean, think about it. So I don't know if were you back home when The Apprentice started?
I was not. I know we were overseas when that mostly was getting popular and whatnot, but I wasn't. I haven't been watching reality shows for a long time. After Jerry Springer totally, ruined them. I couldn't do it.
Did he ruin them though?
Oh yeah, he did. Totally, in my opinion. I'm just not into it. I just can't. I'll tell you right now, I'm not ashamed to admit, the only reality TV shows that I'm watching right now are Total Divas on E.
What is it?
I'm a wrestling guy. Total Divas is the reality show of the ladies in the WWE wrestling organization for what their lives and being on the road and being female wrestlers and all that stuff.
Oh, So, have you watched any Glow? I know you're like a super big wrestling fan, but have you
Yeah,
watched
back
any?
in the day, I used to watch them all the time.
No, but have you watched the Netflix series Glow?
Based on how the
Oh my
show.
God.
Yeah, that's all.
I love it. So, do you remember last week when I was like, "Hey, do you know who Mark Maron is?" He's like my man crush at the time and still is, but he's the main character, the man who's in charge of running the show for Glow.
The director.
The one that's in the show. Yeah, he's fucking phenomenal. Oh my God. I I love him. Honestly, I love him.
I think he's got a new comedy show out right now, like a stand-up, doesn't he?
He does. He actually has had he's got a new one. He's got a new book out and he's not even paying me for this advertisement, but I'll be honest with you. It's if if you're not a fan of like the flair and the whatever you call it, like the over the top bullshit, he's amazing. You got to go, you got to listen to him, you got to watch his stand up. I think he's great. Honestly, I think he's great. I love him.
I'll check him out.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Okay, so I think we can all start off with saying that it's it's Wednesday, but as always, it's been a crazy week. My favorite thing that I've seen since we stopped, well, since we recorded last time, is Sean Hannity versus Keurig. Okay, obviously it's all
What is this all about? Like, what
okay.
is this coffee?
I'm going to tell you, and you're going to roll your eyes, and I totally don't blame you at all. But basically, Sean Hannity, obviously you know,
The
amazing
king of all
presence,
life.
the king of Fox News, king of faux news that he is. Um, so apparently, last week, sometime during all of this Roy Moore scandal with the sexual abuse allegations and whatnot, he basically took to the airwaves. He had an interview with Roy Moore, and one of his biggest things that he said that really just triggered a lot of fucking anger, and I can't even be surprised, but he said that in the case of Roy Moore, people should withhold their judgment, and he also warned the women who were coming forward with these allegations that they needed to make sure that they didn't lie because that would be really detrimental to the case. I mean, basically, he threatened them not to get out there and fucking lie about these allegations.
Where was all that restraint when the whole thing about with Hillary Clinton when felt like he was in a lot of trouble. He comes out with a whole table with Hillary or Bill Clinton accusers and whatnot. I remember everybody on the right was saying, "Oh yeah, 100%. This is real. This is like
Oh
these.
yeah,
We
well
shouldn't even
there is no.
worry about this. This is 100% real." Where was the restraint? It's always when your money is affected. Like everybody who watches Fox News, they like Trump, so they don't like the fact that the guy who Trump supports is probably a pedophile. So what's the best thing you gotta do? You gotta get him on TV and give him a chance.
Well, I think.
Explain what happened with that 14-year-old guy.
Okay, okay. Allow me to explain. All right, so we all know who Roy Moore is. He was the candidate being pushed by Steve Bannon, who is like the grim reaper of all things conservative and white nationalist and whatnot. I don't care what the fuck you call Steve Bannon. He is basically like a cancerous mole that your grandma finds on your back when you're at the beach for like a family reunion, and she's like, you really need to get that checked out, but you're not going to get it checked out because he's just there. It just is what it is. But
Isn't it
anyways,
people that didn't have a lot?
do what?
Isn't Steve Bannon up for being People's Magazine Sexiest Man Alive? I'm telling you,
You
he's
know,
gonna
it's
win.
it's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure he is. Or maybe it could be Blake Shelton. I don't know. I don't even mean to talk shit about Blake Shelton. Honestly, I kind of find him sexy, but what do I know? Obviously, I'm Team Miranda, have been for a long time. So, hey, whatever. But, anyways, back to Sean Hannity. During this episode and during this particular interview that he did with Roy Moore, he basically asked his viewers to, you know, withhold judgment until all the facts are out, and then also warned women against being open about these allegations without any kind of merit. Okay, so seriously, fuck Sean Hannity. But I've been saying
He
for a
was
long
really doing
time.
right there, right? He
All
was
right.
sending a warning to his future accusers.
He was basically like, you guys just need to shut the fuck up. But
I'm
anyway,
telling all you women right now,
right,
if
learn
any
your
of you,
place, know who the fuck you are, shut the fuck up.
exactly.
All right, so
Yeah, if
anyway,
you got something to say about any time that I touched you inappropriately, you keep it to yourself. I paid
that's
you a
right.
lot of money. I'm telling you, that's what he's really talking about. There.
Well,
He's sending
exactly.
a warning to his future
Well, and
attacker.
yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what he's doing. So, anyways, in a sense, he defended Roy Moore. And look, the thing with Roy Moore is very okay. The problem is that Roy Moore was always an undesirable candidate way before this happened. Like everybody wants to like jump on this fucking, you know, like you've got the big fish and you got the sucker fish and they're just like, "Oh, let's jump on this." But Roy Moore has never been this desirable candidate. Like I don't get it. I just don't get it. He even Donald Trump didn't support him during the primaries. He was just like, no, yeah, we're not doing that. But anyways,
So how do we get here?
okay,
How did this happen to
so
Alabama?
now we've got approximately 5 or 6 women who have come forward and said, you know, when Roy Moore was in his 30s, he was your quintessential Matthew McConaughey straight out of Dazed and Confused, prowling prowling for young chicks. I mean, like all I could think about when I think about Roy Moore in his 30s picking up high school chicks is, you know, the one thing I like about high school girls is I keep getting older and they stay the same age. I mean, that is exactly all I think about with Roy Moore. Not only was he like accused of these like totally inappropriate relationships with young girls. Some of them were below the age of consent, even in Alabama, which I know it's crazy. They actually have an age of consent in Alabama. But the last one that came out was, I mean, all of them were really damning. So take it for what you will. Obviously, I'm going to say there's a lot to be said about the reputation that I think Roy Moore had in Alabama that maybe wasn't talked about, but was well known, because that's one of the things. It's like nobody really wants to be the one to talk about it, but they know it exists. And a lot of people have come forward and said, yeah, we didn't really bring it up because it really wasn't a big deal, but it was kind of a known thing, right?
And
So,
to me, that's the part that's the most brilliant, because the
right.
difference
So it's like
between
nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to be a part of it. Nobody wants to have their name attached to it. But the
but
bottom line is,
they revealed their names.
well, these women did. And the thing is that they didn't even, it wasn't like when he won the primary, they just all started coming out of the woodwork. I know it seems like that, but the fact is that these people were sought out by a reporter writing a story and kind of following the trail, and they all these things started coming to light. And I don't know why, you know, it's not necessarily about, well, why did all of a sudden these women start coming forward? Well, you know what, they don't owe you a fucking explanation for that. Now, if you want to feel that it's suspicious that they came out 4 or 6 weeks before the race, fine, I don't care. But the fact remains that these women did come out, and there are multiple women who have come out, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're probably not lying. I'm just going to do it.
I concur only because of the fact that they were so quick to identify themselves. You got nothing.
Right. There's like 70 people on the record about these things. And not only that, there are inconsistencies in his story, and there are some super fucking creepy things that he has said that have really.
Well, there's inconsistencies in his defense when he tried to defend himself on Hannity.
Oh my
Like,
God.
he gave like
Yes.
30 chances to defend himself.
Well,
And the
and
guy,
okay.
where Hannity was like the next day, like, oh my God, okay, dude, if you can't give me a good answer in
Right.
24 hours, then I'm jumping ship.
Well, and that's actually like bringing the whole like Sean Hannity thing full circle. That's kind of where I wanted to leave it at with that was, finally. So let's take it back. Okay, so Sean Hannity says these comments about Roy Moore, and then, coincidentally or not, Keurig, along with several other people that have advertising spots within the Hannity show, pulled their advertising. So Sean Hannity goes public with the fact that Keurig has pulled their advertising from his show, and immediately his people, his followers, his sheeple, whatever you want to call them, immediately say, they start posting these videos, hashtag boycott Keurig, okay? And they start posting these videos of them destroying their fucking Keurigs. And I'm like, bitch, you already bought that. You already bought that. There's nothing. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Remember back in the day when the same thing with the Beatles, the same thing
about the Dixie Chicks. Remember the Dixie Chicks? Oh my God!
I mean, you have to buy these CDs in order to try to go viral.
Exactly.
In front of you, think Apple cares that you waited in line for 3 days?
Nope.
Bought the new iPhone and smashed it on YouTube just so you could have 1 million followers. Bitch, you bought that. They still pocketed the money.
They still got that money. They still got that money. So that was actually the funniest part of that, because I'm just like, you guys got your money. Or Keurig got their money. Why are you smashing your coffee pot? Seriously, those things are precious.
You gotta help me out. You gotta tell me what is smashing the Keurig gonna do. What does that mean? Does that mean
it's like a fuck you establishment? I don't really care. You're crazy. And Sean Hannity is true. He's a truth speaker. He's a truth speaker.
So that's probably what it is. Every person that goes out there and smash the Keurig, you support a possible pedophile. That's exactly
that. Like, can we just go on record to say that, without delving into every single thing that each candidate has, okay, you're looking at an election that's between Roy Moore, who is an accused pedophile. These things don't just come out of anywhere. I get it if it was just one person, but this is like 5 or 6 people. And I'm sorry, but if you watched the last person who was the one that told her story on TV, and if you did not like, I'm not saying that, okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this without seeming like a complete dick. But if you truly watched that and did not feel like this woman had some kind of like legitimate story to tell, and you really felt like it was all just a front to take down Roy Moore, then you're kind of an asshole. Bottom line, you kind of don't have a soul.
I'm proud of the country, the fact that we're getting past this whole mentality of blaming the victim and all that crazy stuff. Where I can understand. Well, when it was Bill Cosby, I could understand people's hesitations and wanting to leave because you had a reputation of being so beloved. Roy Moore should not get that same kind of cushion. All those decades of just being a great dad on TV, kind of. I understood that why it took.
But do you not remember that, like, there was always talk about Bill Cosby being
about a lot of these people, and people try to keep it, and because just in that culture, that whole boys will be boys. They try to play it off, and you hear rumors, and you don't know what to take. You don't know how to take a rumor, and so these rumors come to life. They go on TV or whatever the platform they come out on, and they're crying and they're telling you their story, and then you're like, holy crap! You got a face. You put a face to it, and you can see the pain in their eye.
Right.
And in my heart, I was like, I couldn't think of when he put comfortable like that. Like, guy. But around the 5th, the 10th, 15th, 20th, that was it. It was over. You knew that this couldn't be all lies. It just mathematically, it couldn't be. And Roy Moore doesn't get the Huxtable cushion. I'm sorry.
He doesn't get the Huxtable push. Okay, well, and that's fair. I think a lot of times, Bill Cosby kind of flew under the radar. I think that people knew these things.
But they were afraid of his power. He had too much power. It was too beloved.
Right. Well, but
But I don't know anybody who loves Roy Moore.
well, I can tell you there's a lot of people in Alabama that love Roy Moore, and a lot of people who are even just like, you know what? I'm definitely going to vote for him now.
I mean, but what point does that? This is the crazy part about what, and this pisses me off when conservatives try to say this is what Obama has done to the world and what. No, it's about this is about their deep seated resentment for his election, and now Trump has got you feeling some type of way, feeling good, proud to be a crossburner.
Well,
So for some people out in
and
Alabama.
I think that this goes back to the whole thing that I've always said, especially since Trump was elected, was there are a lot of people that did not like Trump, but still went and voted for him because they cared more about the party agenda. And I'm not saying that you should go and vote. And I have been very bad about this. I want to just go on the record as saying that I have more times than I want to admit, said things like, I would vote, I would vote for a Democrat over a shit sandwich any day, or like I would vote for a shit sandwich over a Republican any day.
I understand. I get it. I
But I feel
understand that.
guilty about that. I feel guilty because I feel like that really puts that bad, like, because in reality, if it came down to it, and I had to choose between a man who had been like the person who prosecuted a trial convicting Klan members of bombing a church and killing small children over a child molester who apparently has a reputation for this. I would hope, regardless of party lines, I would be like, no, I'm still gonna vote for him. Like I would hope that even as much shit as I talk, I would still be like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and save my vote and not vote for the fucking child molester and go ahead and vote for somebody, even if I don't necessarily agree with their party.
Well, I can give the benefit of the doubt and understand why. If your candidate's flawed, if they turn out to be a serial killer, but they're still legally allowed to run and they're winning or whatever, and whatever the situation is, and they should, whether he's Democrat or if I'm a Democrat and Obama was 2 days away from about to win and about to beat Buchanan, and it turns out that he had a bunch of bodies under his basement, but he's still allowed to be president. I might still vote. I might whenever I might vote for him, or if my vote already has been, said and done, it's already too late.
Right. I may be hesitant. And I get it. I get it. But what point do you say maybe this isn't the guy for us to throw our support behind?
No, no. I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying because what they want is all the stuff that he's going to give them on the conservative side or on your side. Just
Right.
don't be arrogant and go and be all super. If Obama turned out to be the opposite of what I thought he was, and it was already too late, my vote was already cast. I'm either A, going to go heavy against them, or B, keep my mouth shut and just not engage in the conversation. Because why would I want to put my neck out there for a guy who totally misrepresented himself and lied like that? I'm a wholesome Christian guy. It's all about church values. And then a month before it's time for the election, it turns out you probably were molesting a bunch of little girls, which totally throws everything that you ran on and said you were down to two.
Well,
You're either,
okay, so it's funny you say that. I'm gonna have to cut you off because, well, okay. So there is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there is something to be said about a man who will prowl the streets for adolescent girls that makes him super creepy. But I did find it kind of funny when his lawyer, who is way more creepy than he is, but probably still as bad, obviously still as bad, was on MSNBC today, or yeah, I think it was MSNBC. And he was just like, so I'm going to go ahead and just say I don't know the names of the hosts of these shows, but there's a woman who is a white woman, and there's a man who is,
Bald head?
what is it?
Is he bald?
Yes. He's Indian, I
Oh,
believe.
Rule and I forgot the other guy's name.
Yes. Well, see, so I don't watch this because it comes on super early before I get
Yeah.
home. But anyways, his lawyer was basically like, well, so I just read through so and so, the man. I read through his bio, and wow, it's pretty impressive. And basically, long story short, story long, he goes into this thing where he's basically saying that he should know what I'm talking about because he comes from a part of the world where young girls are married off to older men all the time. And the woman is like, he's from fucking Canada. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, but he's been to other countries. And she's just like, no, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. I don't know what you're talking about
Oh
because
yeah, oh yeah. Shout out to Rule. She does not play. She needs to be on prime time. I've said it before. I'll say it again. She needs to be on prime time
well,
because she does not play. She is too turned up to be on MSNBC at 8 o'clock in the
the bitch is turned.
morning. It's
The
just
bitch is turned up. Well, all right,
yeah.
we'll work on that. So, anyways, I think we all can go ahead and say in unison that Roy Moore is probably a,
Shit, so and a half.
yeah, yeah. He looks like I like what they said on SNL last week, where they said Roy Moore looks like the guy who shows up in Westworld and says, "Where's the middle school?"
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh,
All right.
was creeped out by him on that. That was funny.
Oh, he's a super
But
creepy guy.
it's just but my whole part about the whole thing about whether or not they're gonna still vote for him. He's got a chance of winning. On some polls, he's winning. Other polls that are showing him losing by 10 points. People are thinking that those are outliers to try to scare him off into quitting. People are gonna vote. It's to me, it's just sad. It's sad when being just a Democrat in a red state is worse than being a potential. I can understand you thinking. I think the liberals are lying about this story just to hurt him.
Hmm.
But what if they're not? You
Well,
really want to take the chance
I don't want to be
on a
attached to
guy
that guy. I don't want to be.
who's on Hannity's show, on a friendly show, and couldn't give a good answer on the defense of his actions or possible actions? You
Well,
really
and
want to
that's
take a
what I'm
chance?
saying. That going, bringing it back to full circle. That's what you said. Now, after all of these boycotts and this back and forth between Hannity and Keurig pussing out and saying, "Oh, well, we didn't mean to come across as seeing that we were taking sides, and this was completely out of protocol." Finally, Sean Hannity says, "Well, Roy Moore has 24 hours to explain his actions because he has a lot of inconsistency in this." In his
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Keurig is coming back, and that was when Sean Hannity decided to throw Roy Moore
It
under the bus?
was so apparently the CEO of Keurig walked back the whole like we're dropping our advertising dollars from Sean Hannity's show and said, this was out of protocol. We didn't we apologize for seeming like we're choosing sides. And then Hannity comes on and he's like, "Oh, everybody stop demolishing your Keurigs."
Oh my god!
Yeah, it is fucking ridiculous. But one
I,
thing that I did want to bring to light,
I said last week. I freaking told you if it hurts, just like with the whole Disney buying part of Fox thing. If it hurts the bottom dollar, he will. These guys, Hannity, all these guys, they do not care about these candidates or their trials and tribulations or whatever they're going through. If Hannity's bottom dollar is going to be affected, Roy Moore will be thrown under the bus in a
well, and
heartbeat.
And he
right now,
was. I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to happen the next 24 hours because, Hannity has given him 24 hours to explain the inconsistencies in his stories. But one thing I did want to bring light before I close out this whole segment about Sean Hannity is right now, if you go on to Twitter, there is a hashtag me at 14 that's trending right now. And it's a really, I don't know. I kind of like it just because I'm kind of a fan of like the whole like you're a fucking creeper thing. And this is basically like people posting pictures of themselves at 14 and saying, me at 14, these are the things that I was into. These are the things that, and I wasn't into dating 32-year-old men. I don't care if they were the DA. I don't care if my mother gave him permission. This is fucking creepy. And I think that that's all we can really decide on. I know at 14, the bottom line that comes down to Roy Moore is that the age of consent in Alabama is higher than 14 years old. Now,
what makes that worse for me is that even because I mean, let's be honest, growing up, even at 14, I knew girls who probably felt like they were grown and they wanted to date other guys and do all this stuff, but the adult in that situation needs to remain in the adultness. Even if I don't care if a confused wannabe grown 14-year-old, 15-year-old is coming at you. You are the adult in the situation.
You are the adult.
Control yourself. Get away from that situation.
And yes, exactly. I mean, that's basically all it comes down to. So I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, she's not going to be held responsible. What are you going to say in the future? Well, she was the one who came on. Do you know how many times men have probably tried to use that defense? She came on to me. Okay, and how old was she again? 14. And how old are you? 32. Okay, thank you.
I mean, honestly, like, you really don't get a pass on that.
You don't. I mean, what are you going to say? She overpowered you?
And not just that, but if you were like 17, 18, and I'm not condoning that, but if you're 14 and you're 18, still fucking creepy, still could probably find somebody your own fucking age, that is almost grounds for opening a discussion, almost. But if you're 32 years old,
like if you're 19 and she's 15 or something like that, they've eased up. Some states have eased up on it. They're not gonna come at you.
Still statutory rape. But the bottom line is, if you're 32 years old and you're prowling for 14-year-old girls and you're nothing but a fucking pedophile,
right? But if you're within 5 years, I think there's the Romeo and Juliet, all that kicks in. And I kind of understand that because I could always say that your brain doesn't start developing until like 25 or something. So I've always thought about that. Like if you're 21, 17, and if the parents want to come after you because the legal consent age, let's say is 18, I mean, really like 3 years or 4 years difference. I've always wondered about that. But at the same time, before I start signing,
I was gonna say, please don't say anything creepy that I might have to walk back.
If you know the rules in your state, if your state is this or whatever, and you know your bottom line, in my opinion, if you're 18 or whatnot, unless she's like in your same class, she's like 2 months away, that's something like that. But if you're 22, 24, 25, and she's 16,
you're a fucking creeper. Yeah, you're a creeper.
Go to college. Go look for the other girls. Go there.
Like, I mean, seriously, what is wrong with Roy Moore that he couldn't pick up chicks his own age?
Because he's probably a pedophile. And
he's obviously a pedophile.
I've seen. I'm not an expert, but I've seen enough lawyers to know that that's the guy that's gonna be the guy who turns out to be the guilty one by 45 minutes into the show. He just looks like that guy.
It's like their fucking haircut always gives them away. There's always something about them that you're just like, God, you're so fucking creepy. Like, what is wrong with you?
He's the guy. He's the guy that Mulder and Scully. He's the guy that Vincent.
Mulder and Scully would have pegged this motherfucker a
long time ago.
because they were smarter than the average
show that they interview and then they look past, and then 45 minutes later, it turns out it was him the whole time.
I think you're thinking of Elliot and Olivia.
Yeah, and Olivia, yeah. The whole cast is different now.
All right, I love them.
That's what Moore looks like. He's the guy that they're gonna arrest by the time it's time for the order part of the.
He's the guy that everyone knows is the fucking pedophile, but everyone is like, oh, but he's so nice and he's so kind. And look at those big 10 Commandment statues he put right in the fucking lobby of the fucking courthouse. Like maybe he needed them there so he could remind them about what a fucking creeper is. Like,
right.
Like he's like, oh, I need a constant reminder about what is lawful and what is not. But apparently, dating 14 or 15-year-old girls is not one of them.
He's the guy. He's the guy who's constantly repenting on his deathbed every time he says his prayers and goes to sleep.
He's so fucking gross. He's so gross. Anyway, so
we should have came up with a bunch of rolling lines. He's the kind of guy jokes. Maybe next week.
He's the kind of guy that every relative tells you at Thanksgiving, you're not allowed to go into the front room and watch TV with that guy.
He's the kind of guy that asks a girl in the mall if he can, friend her on MySpace.
Ugh, God, he's so gross. All right. So anyways, moving forward, what did you think about Colin Kaepernick being named Citizen of the Year?
About time. I'm really hoping that I really thought that by now that it would die down. I feel like the whole I stand for the flag, I kneel for the cross or whatever thing would have died down by now. My argument on Facebook with these people, always telling them that it's not fair that you want everybody to listen to what you're upset about when you're willingly, purposely ignoring what the protest was really about. And it just doesn't register with them. I had a guy on Facebook tell me the other day, but you just don't understand that this, and I cut him off right there. I told him, I said, dude, I'm not even reading any of this shit that you're writing. You're not going to tell me what I don't understand. I spent 6 years in Iraq, serving under the troops, helping them out and whatnot. You're not going to tell me what I don't, you don't know me, so you're not going to tell me what I don't understand.
And like, what was his, if you had to summarize, what would have been his, you just don't understand? What would it have been?
I literally didn't read it because I already knew where he was going to go with it. But
what did you think it was going to be?
Well, you know what? I'm wrong. I did read it. He's going off on the soldiers that died and what the flag represents, and I'm trying to tell him that that's exactly what that flag represents: the right to be able to live in a free country where we're free to do this, to go through this.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. But I think that it's fair to preface any discussion about Colin Kaepernick being named Citizen of the Year by GQ with, it's not the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. Can we just say that? Like, can we just get that out of the way? It's GQ. It's a fucking magazine. It's not like, there's this like big shining award.
People are reacting as if he was just nominated to Jesus.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, and I'm really I'm trying to like dance around this, but also be respectful and not be a complete pussy when it comes to like, people.
Other people's grievances and stuff.
Right. So, okay, being from Houston, I'm not a Texans fan, but I do like J.J. Watt. And one of the things that I've heard a lot of people just up in arms about is, well, J.J. Watt raised $37 million for Harvey relief. Okay. First, I think we can all agree that J.J. Watt is a doll. Everybody loves him. He is a hometown hero, even though he's not from here and whatever. But I love J.J. Watt. I love what he did during Harvey. I loved every single segment that came on that was like, we've reached this goal and surpassed it. I was like crying like a little bitch. I mean, it was awesome. Okay. It was awesome. And I'm not saying that JJ did not deserve this award, okay? But that's not what's being discussed. It wasn't a competition. It wasn't like, oh, everybody cast their votes. Do you want Colin Kaepernick to be Citizen of the Year? Or do you want JJ Watt to be a Citizen of the Year? Because I'm pretty sure if that were the case, JJ Watt would be on the cover of fucking GQ. Okay?
Exactly. JJ Watt is going to get his due. It's just that I'm just tired of people getting upset that a guy who's the face of a protest or whatever, and Colin Kaepernick didn't ask for all this, but
I think that people tend to forget, because Colin Kaepernick is pretty silent about the things that he does, other than because that's kind of been his thing, it's a silent protest. You're not up in arms, you're not yelling, you're not screaming, you're not saying this is what we're here for. His silence above all things has spoke volumes for what he is trying to say.
Exactly.
And the thing about it is that he hasn't been out there like, well, did you see all of this I've done? But every month, Colin Kaepernick is given $100,000 to organizations in areas to fight these types of injustices, to whether it's, whatever organization he decides to give to. It kind of all ties back to what his initial protest came from, where, police brutality, injustice, racial injustice, whatever it is that you want to put as a label on his protest. But the thing is, like, this is why I know you love JJ Watt. I know you do. I love JJ Watt. I love watching him. I think it's adorable. Oh my God, $37 million. I think it's amazing. But it wasn't a competition between JJ Watt and Colin Kaepernick. You don't have to like it. Fucking Blake Shelton was named most beautiful, sexiest man alive. And I can think of 85 people who are hotter than Blake Shelton, but nobody was voting on this. It's a magazine.
Well, it's easy for Americans to support the clean cut, no controversy kind of
right.
JJ Watt kind of a guy, and the reason why he was able to raise $32 million versus Kaepernick's and the people who are making it a competition, but he's only doing $100,000 here and there. Well, but he's being consistent. And I'm not disrespecting what JJ Watt did. It's great, and I'm glad he did it. But at the same time, it's the equivalent of people who only go volunteer at the shelter during Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And look, I'm not saying that that's even the case with JJ Watt. I think that JJ Watt consistently gives and is a humanitarian, and he's a philanthropist, and he does whatever good he can do. He's a great guy.
But he would be the perfect guy for this whole. But he's never going to take a knee. He's never. It's always the ones who have the real.
You know what? That's the thing. I'm not asking him to take a knee. I'm not asking him to. That's not the issue. The issue is that you have somebody like Colin Kaepernick, who Colin obviously was. A lot of people said, "Well, he sucks. He wasn't good. That's why he got dropped." It didn't have anything to do with him taking a knee during the national anthem. But the fact that the Houston Texans have run through 3 or 4 fucking shitty quarterbacks and have yet to one time try out Colin Kaepernick goes to show that there is a serious blackballing situation within the NFL when it comes to Colin Kaepernick. You can sit here and deny it all you want, but the fact remains. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about other people. And that's the thing. The one thing I keep telling everybody is, like, just give him a shot. What do you have to lose? Texans fans boo their fucking quarterback the first part of the fucking game. It doesn't matter. Like,
well, you know what? This is the first quarterback, win or lose, that the Texans were. I haven't seen the Texans. I see the Texans getting behind the one that we recently what was it, Watson, the one that recently got hurt.
Look, Watson, I thought was great. I thought
he was exciting. People were supporting him, even when we lost. It was like, well, it wasn't because of Watson. it was support where we get Carr when the Texans was in the first 2 years. And everybody was like, let's give him a chance. He was in that honeymoon stage.
Yeah, of course.
But,
and I hate that he got hurt. I do hate that he got hurt.
Got hurt, but I understand what you're saying, and because as much as I love J.J. Watt, and I'm glad that he did what he's doing, and he did what he did, and he did what he's doing. But the difference between J.J. Watt and Colin Kaepernick on a stats level, I mean, J.J. Watt is headed to the Hall of Fame. I think that's pretty much a done deal. But he still hasn't gone to a Super Bowl.
No.
And that's just a fact. And maybe whether it's his fault, whether it's the offense's fault, whether it's the teams, whether it's the owners, whoever you want to blame, it's still just a fact. And Colin Kaepernick did go to a Super Bowl.
And I think that I think that it's better just to go ahead and be honest about it. Like, if you don't want to acknowledge that Colin Kaepernick has every bit of a right to be even like trying out for teams, but he's purposely not being picked up or even tried out for these teams because of the stance that he has taken, that I would respect you more if you said, I don't want Colin Kaepernick even trying out for my team because he is a lightning rod for controversy. I would respect you more for that than trying to pretend like that's not why Colin Kaepernick is being picked out.
You know the real reason why. I talked about this, I think, on week 1. They crunched the numbers. They know that they would sell one less T-shirt having him on the team than they would not having him on the team. They crunched the numbers. They've done the math. The marketing team has told them, if we put Colin Kaepernick on the Houston Texans or this team or that Dolphins, whatever the team is, we would probably sell one less T-shirt than we would if we left them off. And then that's it. If right now, if I could prove to the owner of the Texans that they would make $100 million more in T-shirt sales by having Colin Kaepernick on the team, he would be signed today. Yeah. I guarantee you.
Well, and I think my biggest thing is that, regardless of whether you fully understand why Colin Kaepernick or other people that are still in the league have taken a knee and continue to kneel during the national anthem, whether you understand that or want to acknowledge that, or you just don't like him because you think that what he's doing is just outright disrespectful. The bottom line is, it's pretty easy to understand. It's pretty easy to acknowledge that he is being blackballed. He was essentially cut out. I mean, if Brock Osweiler can still be playing for a team, as bad as he is, as shitty of a quarterback as he is, there's no reason why any team shouldn't at least attempt to pick up Colin Kaepernick.
You're touching on what it really is about, because there's been a lot of white quarterbacks who have done worse, who have been given the benefit of the doubt, let the time go by for people to forget it, and they don't give the same kind of leeway to black athletes. And
well, they don't, especially ones that are. Well, especially ones that are vocally and not vocally, because I don't think he's vocally doing this, who are trying to use their platform to speak up against racial injustice in this country, which I don't care if you believe that every single video that you've seen of a police officer abusing his power is accurate. I don't care if you want to. I don't care if you want to embrace that there is an issue. The bottom line is, it's pretty obvious that a person using their platform was completely blackballed from an organization that he had played for and had no real issues with, other than the fact that he had a little bit of a downtime season. So,
that's the part where I'm going to have to do this right here on that, because the truth about what you're talking about there is for one, protests are not meant to be comfortable. That whole point of a protest is to make you uncomfortable. And all of these people who are saying that that he's disrespecting the flag and this and that, these are some of these people are probably the same people who joined the T.B.R.H movement when Barack
Right.
Obama became president. But now that that's all said and done, and now this is happening with Colin Kaepernick, all of a sudden now it's disrespecting the flag. Like, I want to see, name me one athlete who said, I'm taking the knee because I hate America. Name one athlete. And it's just
Muhammad Ali.
I'm talking about one. I'm talking about football.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you're proving my point right there. And now what's happening to his legend? Nothing.
Right. Well, and I think I think you touched on the point about it. You know, these things are not supposed to be made political. Protests don't make you feel comfortable. They make you feel uncomfortable, and they make you talk, and they make you think about it. And you may not want to acknowledge it, but that's not on him. That's on you. If you don't want to acknowledge it and you want to hide behind whatever fake patriotic, whatever the fuck you are, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know a single soldier, Marine, Airman, Navy, whatever, who has said, I felt disrespected by this because I truly feel like this is going against our soldiers who have died in the field. The people that I know who truly understand what it means to be a soldier are the same people that are saying, you know what? I don't like it. It's not my particular brand of protest, but I know that the people who came before me who died in battle did so to protect his right to do this. And it's not about making you feel comfortable. It's about making you think. And that, to me, is why he deserves to be Citizen of the Year. Because you're still talking about it, you're still thinking about it, and you're still trying to figure out, wow, what is the real issue here?
Exactly. And now, and the funny thing is, I guess we'll move on to the next topic because I'm now watching the whole issue. I think you touched on this a little bit. Did you see the uproar about the guy who bought the "Fuck Trump" bumper sticker on his car?
Oh my God! Yes, come to find out, that's a woman.
And the police had to make a statement about this. What was it? Disorderly conduct was. It says, okay, the guy that was Sheriff Troy. I have received numerous. He said he made a statement about how he's received numerous calls about this truck on the road. Tell me one thing that makes this truck illegal, besides the fact that it's probably now made itself a target of hate and attack. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The police are going to probably try to get this lady to take that sign off of the truck, and he's gonna say, "Well, we're doing it to protect you," because they know for a fact that one of these people that hates that being on there is probably going to attack.
So, being from the area that you're from, I'm not really sure if you know who this particular sheriff is, but it's Fort Bend Sheriff Troy Nails, and he is well liked in this area. He's from Fort Bend. I know of him. I don't really have any beef with the guy. He's pretty open about the fact that he's a conservative, and he's very much like, you know, I'm the law here in these parts. And one of the things he said whenever he posted this Facebook post, and that's the thing, like, he posted a picture that someone had sent him of the back of this person's vehicle, and the sticker says, fuck Trump and fuck you for voting for him. And I am like, I know exactly where this intersection is. I know exactly where this area is in Fort Bend County. And he basically said, if you have any information about this particular person, please contact me. This person is guilty of disorderly conduct based on the fact that the language is lewd and obscene and whatever. So my
wait, that is a lot, but that's a lot.
That's a lot. Well, I don't know. Look, if you vote for a person who was caught on tape saying, I can't. I lunged at her like a bitch, and I grabbed her pussy because
married, and I tried.
Right. Do you really get to be holier than thou about a fucking sticker on a truck? Like,
and that was my whole point about Roy Moore. About I understand the people who are gonna probably still vote for him. I know he's probably could be a pedophile, but at least he's not a Democrat on vote. But at least okay, if you're gonna vote, keep your holier than thou mouth shut about it.
yeah,
That's my.
Well, and I think too, like, you know, I was following this story because it just came out today, and it's been picked up like by several news outlets in the Houston area, and I'm sure it will be in no time. It'll probably go viral and end up, well, it's already viral, but end up going national. And my only thing is like, okay, look, I get it. You're in the car with your kid's looking all around, and he's all like, oh, what's this? Blah, blah, blah. You know how kids do. And they're like, fuck Trump. And I get it. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But I think it speaks volumes about what is going on in this country and how divided people are about someone who is a fucking Neanderthal in the White House. And I think that you may, if you're offended by that, you need to have that conversation with your child and say, look, we don't use those words, but this is what's going on. And I don't
trying to put up charges against the people who would have like Barack Obama dolls on nooses being hung and
exactly. And I don't know about you, but okay, well, let me ask your opinion on this. You're being a black man, you're pretty laid back, you're pretty chill, but you know, how do you feel about the fact that in the same exact county with this truck, it's no thing to go anywhere and see someone flying the Confederate flag, or like you said, somebody who has a Hillary bumper sticker, or hang Obama. Like, how does that feel?
But I feel like because that's technically a crime right there, because you're saying, you're telling people like not more than just lock her up, but the lock her up stuff. All right, fine, that's what they want. That's what they want. But the ones who say, you know, hurt her or kill her or do something like that, you're talking about bringing harm to a Secretary of State, a presidential candidate.
Well, not just that, but she was a former first lady. I mean, let's don't forget the fact that she's a former first lady.
I don't even understand how the guy who attacked Rand Paul got on bail the very next day. I know why, but I don't understand it.
I'm shocked, to be honest with you. I'm shocked.
It's a felony, and he's only getting a misdemeanor, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But the Confederate flag, the Confederate flag being waved around, I see it every day. I honestly see it every day.
Of course, I do too.
I don't care, because to me, it's worse than seeing the letters F-U-C-K in that order. But just like waving the Confederate flag, the word "fuck" being displayed on a T-shirt in a movie, being sold in stores and things like that, is not against the law. Yeah. And show me what law.
It's not. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen a lot of shitty bumper stickers, whether they were political or not. I've seen a lot of stuff. And one of the Facebook pages that I follow talked about this. They said, you know, that being the person who commented on this said, you know, they were from this county, and they called up the sheriff today, and they said, hey, if you are planning to censor this person because of something that they have on their vehicle, are you planning on policing everyone's vehicle? And they were promptly shut down by the sheriff. He didn't want anything to hear. He didn't want to say anything. He didn't want to talk to him. He hung up on him or whatever.
He only wanted to talk about anybody who was upset about this one thing. So anybody who was offended.
Pretty clear.
The sensitive
police. A political agenda, and
exactly. This guy. If I was her, I would beg for an arrest.
I'll tell you what. The ACLU of Texas has already put out a statement asking whoever's truck this is to come forward. And
I saw her. She's already on the news.
Right, I saw her too, but. Basically, like, call us. We want to defend you, because that's just, you know,
that's her freedom. That's her freedom of speech. It's not against the law. It's not like she's claiming fire in a crowded building.
And I'm not
or
saying
anything
it's
like
not
that.
tacky. I'm not saying it's not crude. I'm not saying there's all
Exactly.
these things. I'm
You're
not
right.
saying that. And I'm not saying that I'm going to drive around with that sticker on my car either. Although now
But
I'm a little bit more tempted because there's about 25,000 times in the day when I'm like, fuck Trump and fuck you if you voted for him.
exactly.
But,
And if I as a black man have to be okay with or with seeing my fellow Americans running around with a Confederate flag who were traitors to this country and tried to overthrow the American flag that these people claim to love so much, and they want to wave the flag of the rebel traitors that tried to overthrow the government and keep slavery going, then why can't I have a bumper sticker that says
well, I think I think in the Republican Party, what you're referring to is snowflakes.
it's a little bit of I call it a hypocrisy.
I like to call this a little thing called hypocrisy, and yeah, it's hilarious. Actually, I think it's ridiculous. But
It's gonna get worse. The more flawed and the more bullshit and the more unlikable that Trump keeps making himself, the more they're gonna attack women like that put their bumper sticker out there. The more they're gonna attack that black guy or that Hispanic guy who doesn't have documentation or something like that. The more that it's becoming proven that he colluded or that he's an asshole, that he should not be the president, the more innocent people are going to get victimized by the people that are mad that they supported the wrong guy. That's just my opinion.
yeah, well, you know what? Look, opinions are like stickers on the back of people's cars. Everyone's got one, and I really don't give two shits because
I'm more offended. I'm more offended by the bumper stickers. That my kid was the honor roll with such and such elementary. Fuck you, Andrew.
stop putting your kids' school on your cars, people.
Quit living
Stop
through
putting
your
your fucking
dream.
kids' school, please.
Exactly.
It's dangerous.
Exactly. I'm more offended by those parents that are living through their kids' dreams. So I don't know. You ready for rapid fire before we wrap it up?
Yeah, hit me.
All right. First one. Here we go. All right. AT&T. All right. Well, I know I kind of talked about this. I found the letter. I got it right here. AT&T sent me a letter saying, as of September 7th, 2017, Equifax announced that it suffered a data breach. If you were a victim, if you think you were a victim of identity theft and all that stuff, without that whole Equifax crap, my problem is these bitches right here already knew about those breaches and stuff months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you or protect you and tell you that your stuff has been hacked until they've already gotten every bit of dollar out of it, every bit of protection for themselves, every lawyer that they can get a hold of to protect themselves, all while you're still being hacked and compromised. I got this letter like the other day. It's dated October 23rd. And I'm just now getting this letter. And it says that it's talking about something that happened in September. I remember that the whole thing happened, 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, they're trying to tell people to go to LifeLock, whatever that thing is, Smart Lock or whatever, who is also an affiliate of the same company that got hacked. They're making money off both sides.
Yes.
So I don't understand why I'm not falling for this. If I got hacked, fine, go for it. My credit's already fucked up. You can have it.
What like, good luck. Good luck, girl. Good luck.
What do you got?
Oh, so okay. All right. So this is a story that kind of jumped on my radar. All right. So there's a woman who goes by the name Jadu, who is a white woman that claims to be transracial. Okay. She basically is saying that she is not white, that she's Filipino. And it kind of jumped on my radar because I was like, oh, this bitch, I don't even know. But I kind of want your opinion on it because I just feel like it needs to be discussed because I don't know. Like, I worry about things like this coming up on the news because I worry about it affecting any kind of positive work that is being done by the trans community. And by that, I mean transgender community. So if someone were to come to you who is, you know, by all accounts, a white woman, and said, I'm not white, I'm actually Filipino, how would you take that?
I don't understand. I don't understand if that's what she is, or or what do you mean? Like, if I can look at her and I can tell she's not Asian at all?
Right. This woman is obviously, she's not Asian at all.
Well, my next question would be: were you born in the Philippines? Do you have a Philippine citizenship?
Right. No, she has none of those.
If she just self-identifies as a Filipino person?
She just self-identifies as a Filipino person.
Well, my spider senses would start to kick in. I would sink away. Doesn't matter how.
You're like, I'm just gonna back away. Really?
I just sink away. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Like, it's just like with Aaron. Everything that you've been trying to do to keep us apart has never worked. But if she tried that crap,
Aaron,
I still love her. It's okay. She can be still.
I'm scratching a shitload of shit on my paper right now, and I'm going to tell Aaron all about this.
Good. I want you to.
Okay. So that was just something that I wanted to, like, I really just kind of jumped on my radar because I was like, wow, I don't know. How do we deal with something like that? Do we ignore things like that? Do we just not give them the airtime that they really are asking for? Or do we deserve to hear them out? Obviously, we know if you're not born in the Philippines or you're not of Filipino descent, we're not going to really give you a lot of airtime, or we shouldn't give you some airtime because you now all of a sudden decide that you're Filipino.
In our country, where we make such a big deal about all this stuff, we hyphen everything. I had a best friend who was from South Africa, and she was pissed that she was forced to put like white on where it says her nationality. She put African because she was born in Africa.
Right.
It's like, no, you can't put that. You have to put white. I'm like, oh, the question is, what's my nationality? I was born in Africa. No. We need you to put Caucasian. You trust me.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but you can't come into this country unless you fit into these 5 to 6 blocks.
Or we have a box that's preset for you.
Sorry. Yeah. No, so that, but I did have this really awesome story about, so you know Cards Against Humanity, right?
Right.
Okay. So apparently they have purchased a section along the Mexican border that is going to basically cut into the land that Donald Trump is wanting to use for his Great Wall. And I think we need to give a shout out to him. I feel like this is something that I'm a huge fan of it.
They pulled the Trump card on Trump's wall.
Oh, they did. God damn it, they did.
I noticed that was always a problem. I know that there's a lot of land, especially between Texas and Mexico, that's owned. Like if you're from a Mexican citizen, maybe a farmer or whatnot, and vice versa, a Texas citizen who owns so much land that from generations that stretches and crosses over the border, and it's still legally their land, and they can do whatever they want with. I mean, there's a lot of land like that, and that was one of the questions. Like, Trump, what are you going to do about that part of the wall and stuff? He never had any answers for it. So one of them is really starting to give him shit. That's good. That's probably one of these guys that you're talking about.
I'm a fan of it. So yeah, no, but it's other than that. I mean, I think.
What if they let people? What if the wall stops right there? This is big old gap, and legally, they can't do nothing about it, and the owner of the land is like purposely letting people come in and out of Mexico.
So I got nothing. I think that I think we need to stop wasting so much fucking money on a stupid border wall and put that money into our fucking immigration policies.
If we're not going to defend ourselves from the real enemy from the north, The
The king of the
Canadians,
north.
the people that come from Canada,
I think we always
taking our jobs.
I think we all know that the real threat is beyond the wall.
Is
I think
beyond
we
the
all
wall.
know this.
The king of the north is a problem.
The king of the north is going to save us from the problem beyond the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. So you're saying we're the problem? Ooh, I like it.
Oh my God. You just blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. So we're the White Walkers.
So what is your opinion on Bran possibly being the Night King?
Bran?
So I guess you're not a Game of Thrones
I
watcher.
love Game of Thrones, but what was it? I didn't hear the names.
I said you just blew my mind with that shit about us being the good people and them being the bad people. What do you think about the possibility that Bran could actually be the Night King?
Brandon
Brandon Stark.
the Night King?
Yeah, well, you're fired. And I don't think I can be friends with you anymore. So,
Brandon Stark.
yeah.
Which one is Brandon Stark?
Google it. Google it.
I mean, I love the show, but I'm not obsessed.
Really? Well, you should be. Because it's important.
Well, my last story, as I wait, Brandon Stark, the boy that lost his legs.
Oh, now you got a memory. What are you, Jeff Sessions?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at his picture right now. He might be the king of those zombies.
So, what's your last story?
Fine. You know what? Screw you. The last thing I want to.
You're fired. You know what? Erin is a big fan of Game of Thrones, and she's going to hear this, and you have completely lost.
Tell her nothing about this. Look,
I'm telling her.
So there was going back to let's go back to the South in Alabama, where
The South of the South.
The South of the South. So there was a robocall that was circulating to some people's houses. Did you hear about this? The fake robocall from the Washington. A reporter from the Washington Post was calling people up asking if they had any stories or anything that was against Roy Moore, trying to make the offer seem like this was a liberal Washington Post plot to if anybody say I don't like basically it was like I don't care if it's true or not, if it's something that's negative against Roy Moore, please call, we're gonna pay you $5,000 for it.
No.
It was a reporter named Bernie Bernstein, and the most messed up thing about it is
that's amazing.
the voice. So there's nobody at the Washington Post with that name. No reporter with the name Bernie Bernstein. And
that can't even be a real name. Surely that's not a real name.
All right. This morning on Morning Joe, when they played it, one of the anchors at the table, the only one I guess is Jewish. He weighed into it so hard. He was he was Jewish. He said, me listening to that sounds so damn racist. It was like some guy picking the most stereotypical
racist stereotypical name they could come up with.
And then he went on this whole rant where he was kind of mimicking what it sounded like to him. He was like, I'm Bernie Bernstein. Yeah, I mean, everybody was dying laughing. And I guess because he's the only one that was Jewish on the panel, he was like, "You're probably the only one that can get away with that joke." But that's exactly the Jewish reporter, and they were trying to make it seem like the Washington Post was just trying to pay for any negativity on Roy Moore, but it was true. I give up for them for really trying that hard. I'm right. I think that tactic is going to work. Even though it's already been proven. You see, this is the liberals trying to make it. And it's so conservative. Technically fake news. It's like some guy out there trying to tarnish the name because they want to guys on the news.
Yeah, it could be Trump himself. We all know that he faked
It probably was Trump. Oh my God. You know how he does with those like pseudonyms or whatever they call them.
Yeah. Back then, things that they of himself. I forgot how he used to come up with. I mean, it's all the things that they accuse the liberals of doing, they're doing.
Oh, they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. I'm sorry. Every day I try to be a good person. Every day I try to be like an understanding and open person and being like, well, I don't maybe agree with you 100%, but please bring it to the table and we'll talk about it. And then what the fuck did they do? Bernie Bernstein. God damn it.
Bernie Bernstein, we want to give you $5,000.
It's like the most racist shit that
You need to look at that video.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm swearing to you, it's the most stereotypical like Jewish accent thing that this guy could probably think of. and if it wasn't, I'm sorry to say it wasn't funny. And you have to kind of listen to Morning Joe and see the guy who reacted to it and he did his little impersonation of it. Because he was the only Jewish guy on the crowd that could kind of get away without getting in trouble. He was hilarious making fun of this robocall thing,
I really wish that I answered my phone more frequently because I probably get some really awesome robocalls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is you need to go for
Well, okay, so I think that we've solved a lot of world problems, and I feel like we're really making strides.
I think we've helped make the world a better place. One hypocrite, the destruction of one hypocrite at a time.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm working on. I mean, self-included. I'm all about destroying myself as I, anytime that I become a hypocrite.
You're a martyr. I love the way you fall on your sword. I can't wait. Hey, guys out there listening to this podcast, look is coming. It's right here. And Trey Baker.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's right. And if you've got a hypocrite that you would like for us to call out, please comment on our Facebook page or our Twitter feed because we would love to tear them down equally.
And if you're the guy who came up with that Bernie Bernstein robocall,
we want to talk to you.
We want to talk to you. Meet me online.
That's right.
Trust me.
Okay, well,
as I extend my my nightsticks, that extractable cop nightsticks, I just want to talk.
Is this your baton? Your beating baton?
My baton. I just want to talk.
I just want to talk to you. Don't run. Don't run.
You're gonna make it worse.
You're just gonna make it worse. Don't run. You're just gonna die tired.
2018.
That's right. Hashtag. Okay, well, good night. Have a lovely evening. Have fun with whatever you've got planned this evening.
I got a lot of love to give, and you can't stop me. All right. And on that note.
Wouldn't even try if I could.
Until next time, guys.
Good night.